Have you ever had a moment where you just felt something was off in your body, but couldn't quite explain it? Maybe your energy seemed to fade a little faster than it used to, or your balance felt just slightly off when you stood up too quickly. Maybe you've looked in the mirror and thought, is this what getting older is supposed to feel like? You're not alone. So many people over 65 start noticing little things, subtle changes that seem too minor to bring up at the doctor's office, but big enough to make you wonder, is this a sign of something bigger? Here's the thing most people don't realize. Your body is constantly sending you signals. And believe it or not, some of those hidden signs can actually give you a pretty good clue about your long-term health, and even how long you might live. Now, I know that sounds bold, but stick with me. Science is finally catching up with what many older adults have long suspected. The body keeps the score. From your grip strength to how fast you walk, researchers are discovering that small physical and mental signs can offer surprising insight into your overall longevity. In fact, a study from Harvard Medical School found that something as simple as how quickly you can get up from a chair can predict your risk of death within the next few years. Another study from the British Medical Journal showed that slow walking speed in seniors is linked to a higher risk of heart disease and early death. Pretty incredible, right? So today we're going to dive deep into this topic. We're going to explore 9 hidden signs your body gives you that can reveal a lot about your future health. And don't worry, we're not just going to identify these signs. I'll show you practical, doable ways to turn things around starting right now. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the last one, because it just might be the most surprising of all. But first, a quick and important note. Disclaimer: this video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Alright, let's get into it. The first hidden sign? Grip strength. Yes, I know it sounds simple, but research consistently shows that grip strength is more than just a measure of hand power. It's a window into your entire body's muscle function. A massive study published in The Lancet found that weaker grip strength is directly associated with a higher risk of heart disease, stroke, and early death. In fact, it was even more predictive than blood pressure in some cases. Isn't that wild? So how do you know if your grip strength is good? Try this. Pick up a full gallon of water and hold it out in front of you for 30 seconds. If you struggle, it might be time to work on your grip. The good news? You don't need fancy gym equipment. Just start by squeezing a tennis ball for a few minutes a day, or using light hand weights while watching TV. Now moving on to the second hidden sign, your walking speed. You might not have thought much about how fast you walk, but scientists sure have. According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, slow walking speed, especially under 1 meter per second, can be an early indicator of declining health and a shorter lifespan. But don't worry, this is one of the easiest things to improve. Even just walking briskly for 20 minutes a day can help. You don't need to power walk like an Olympian. Just move with purpose. A walk around the block with a friend, or even around your house if it's cold outside, counts. I know a woman named Elena. She started walking every morning after her 70th birthday. At first, it was tough. She could barely make it to the end of her street. But 6 months in, she's doing 2 miles a day and feels better than she has in years. Her doctor even reduced her blood pressure medication. Now let's talk about the third hidden sign, unexplained weight loss. Now, I know that sounds like a good thing, especially when we're constantly being told to watch our weight. But here's the truth. Losing weight without trying, especially muscle mass, is a red flag. It's often a sign of sarcopenia, which is the natural muscle loss that happens with age. But if it happens too fast, it can seriously increase your risk of falls, fractures, and hospitalizations. Researchers from UCLA found that people over 65 who lose more than 5% of their body weight within a year, without trying, have significantly higher mortality rates. So if your pants suddenly feel looser, and you haven't changed your diet or activity, talk to your doctor. And in the meantime, consider adding more protein to your meals. Think eggs, Greek yogurt, or lentils, and include some light resistance exercises. You don't have to lift heavy weights. Even bodyweight squats done near a chair for support can help maintain your strength. And now, onto a fourth one that often surprises people: your sense of smell. Yes, your nose knows. A study from Columbia University found that a declining sense of smell in older adults is strongly associated with early mortality, even more than some traditional risk factors like cancer or heart disease. Why? Well, part of it may have to do with early neurological changes, sometimes even linked to conditions like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. But it can also signal poor nutrition. If food doesn't smell or taste right, people tend to eat less, leading to weight loss, nutrient deficiencies, and weakness. So, if you've noticed that your favorite foods don't smell or taste the way they used to, or if you've lost interest in eating altogether, it's worth mentioning at your next doctor's visit. And try to spice things up a little, literally. Fresh herbs, citrus, and warm spices like cinnamon or turmeric can make meals more exciting again. Now that we've explored some of these essential body clues, let's keep going. In part 2, we're going to dive into a few more subtle signs, including one you can check right now just by standing still. We'll also look at how your social life, and even your posture, might be telling a deeper story about your future health. Stick with me because these next few signs could make all the difference. Alright, so we've already looked at how grip strength, walking speed, unexpected weight loss, and even your sense of smell can quietly reveal a lot about your health. But we're just getting started. There are still more signs your body might be giving you, and they're easier to check than you think. Let me ask you this: when was the last time you just stood still and paid attention to your posture? You see, posture, that's our next hidden sign. And it's a big one. If you find yourself hunched over or struggling to stand upright, your body could be warning you. A study from Japan followed thousands of seniors for over a decade and found that people with a noticeable stoop or rounded back, what researchers call hyperkyphosis, were significantly more likely to die earlier, even when accounting for other health factors. That sounds dramatic, I know, but it makes sense. Poor posture can reduce lung capacity, affect digestion, cause joint pain, and even lead to social withdrawal. When you're slumped over, you naturally feel more tired, more self-conscious, and less confident. But here's the hopeful part: posture is something you can improve, even later in life. Simple stretches, gentle yoga, and even standing against a wall for 5 minutes a day can help retrain your muscles. I knew a man named Gary. He was 76 when he started doing daily shoulder rolls and wall angels, and in just a few months, his back pain reduced, and he said he felt taller and stronger than he had in years. Okay, let's move on to the sixth hidden sign, and this one's a little more unexpected: your resting heart rate. Now, I'm not talking about how fast your heart beats after climbing stairs. That's normal. I'm talking about your heart rate when you're relaxed, maybe sitting on the couch or lying in bed. A consistently high resting heart rate, say above 80 beats per minute, can be a sign of underlying stress, inflammation, or cardiovascular strain. According to the American Heart Association, people with higher resting heart rates tend to have a higher risk of premature death, even if they're otherwise healthy. On the flip side, a lower resting heart rate, usually in the 60s, is often a marker of a well-conditioned heart. The easiest way to check it: just sit down, relax for a few minutes, and then count your pulse for 30 seconds at your wrist. Double it for your full minute rate. And if you notice it's regularly on the higher side, don't panic, but bring it up with your doctor. You might benefit from light cardio exercise, breathing techniques, or better sleep habits. And speaking of sleep, let's talk about the seventh sign your body gives you: your sleep quality. We've all heard that sleep is important, but as we get older, it gets trickier. Some people fall asleep easily, but wake up at 3 a.m. wide awake. Others just feel tired all the time, no matter how many hours they get. But here's the science: consistent, poor sleep has been linked to a shorter lifespan, cognitive decline, and a higher risk of chronic illness. One study from the University of California even found that people who regularly slept less than 6 hours had a 33% higher risk of early death. And the good news? There's so much you can do to improve it, naturally. Set a regular bedtime and wake-up time. Limit screens in the evening. Try calming habits like herbal tea, light reading, or soft music. I even know someone who swears by warm foot baths before bed. It relaxes the nervous system and helps her drift off more easily. Now, you might be wondering, But what if I've had bad sleep or posture for years? Is it too late to change? And the answer is a big, bold no. The body is incredibly adaptable, even later in life. Tiny improvements, repeated daily, create real change. Which brings us to another sign that often gets overlooked: your level of social engagement. I want you to think for a second. When was the last time you laughed with a friend, shared a meal with someone, or just had a meaningful conversation? Because loneliness is more than just a feeling, it's a risk factor. The National Institute on Aging reports that chronic loneliness and isolation can increase your risk of premature death by nearly 30%, on par with smoking or obesity. That's huge. Now I get it. Making new connections later in life isn't always easy. But it's not about having a crowd, it's about having connection. Maybe that's joining a walking group, calling a family member once a week, or volunteering somewhere local. Even small acts of connection, smiling at a neighbor, chatting with a cashier, can help. I remember hearing from a woman named Linda who joined a senior book club at her local library. She said, "I didn't even care much about the books, but I kept going back for the people." And you know what? Her energy picked up, her mood improved, and she said she finally felt like herself again. So far, we've looked at 7 powerful, science-backed signs. Some physical, some mental, some social, but all of them tell a story. A story about how your body is doing, and what it might need from you. And that leads us right into the next part, because the final 2 signs, they might be the most personal of all. One has to do with how much pain you're in each day, and the other, it's about how you feel about life, your sense of purpose, your motivation, and whether or not you still wake up with that little spark inside that says, "I still have something to offer." So in part 3, we'll explore those final signs, share some truly inspiring stories, and talk about the biggest barriers seniors face when trying to stay healthy and how to overcome them. And hey, if this is resonating with you, if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every week with real, science-backed strategies to help you feel your best at any age. If you're enjoying this so far and want more simple, science-backed tips to stay healthy as you age, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We share helpful videos just like this every week, all designed to help you feel stronger, sharper, and more confident every single day. Now let's get into the final 2 hidden signs your body gives you, and these might be the most powerful of all. Let's talk about chronic pain. Now, I'm not just talking about the occasional ache after a long walk or a sore knee from standing too long. I'm talking about that daily, persistent pain that wears you down, whether it's arthritis in your hands, back pain that makes it hard to sleep, or even digestive issues that you've just learned to live with. Here's the thing. Pain isn't just a symptom, it's a signal. Your body is trying to tell you something's off. And research shows that chronic pain, especially when left untreated, doesn't just affect your comfort, it can actually shorten your life. Why? Because long-term pain triggers inflammation, stress, and even depression. It changes how you move, how you eat, how you sleep. You start avoiding walks, skipping meals, isolating from others. And all of that leads to a downward spiral that can feel impossible to escape. But here's the encouraging part. You don't have to just accept it. Many forms of chronic pain can be improved, even if you've been dealing with them for years. Gentle movement, anti-inflammatory foods, and physical therapy can all make a difference. I once met a woman named Doreen who had lived with neck pain for nearly a decade. She told me, "I thought that was just how life was going to be." But after just 2 months of working with a physical therapist and trying out Tai Chi, she said her pain had dropped by more than half. More importantly, she started living again, going to the park, reading to her grandkids, even dancing at her nephew's wedding. And that brings us to the 9th and final hidden sign, your sense of purpose. Now, I know that might sound a little abstract, but stay with me, because it's one of the strongest predictors of longevity we have. Studies from places like the University of Michigan and the Blue Zones Project show that people who report having a clear sense of purpose, something to wake up for, are far more likely to live longer, healthier lives. Think about that. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Maybe it's tending your garden, calling your sister every Sunday, mentoring someone younger, or writing that story you've always wanted to tell. Purpose gives structure to your days, meaning to your challenges, and joy to your achievements. There's a man I met named Paul. He's 84 now, but he didn't feel alive until he turned 75. After his wife passed, he was in a fog. He said, "I was surviving, not living." But one day, he started fixing up old bicycles to donate to kids in his neighborhood. He started small, just one, but then another. And now, he's given away over 60 bikes. He said, "It gave me back my reason to get up in the morning." That spark? That's what we're talking about. That's what keeps you going. It's not just about how your body moves. It's about how your heart moves. But I know it's not always easy. In fact, let's talk honestly about some of the common struggles so many people face as they get older. Not just physical pain, but things like, "I don't have the energy anymore." That's a big one. But what if I told you that moving more actually creates more energy? It sounds backward, but it's true. Even 10 minutes of light walking, stretching, or dancing gets your blood flowing, your muscles awake, and your brain more alert. A study from Johns Hopkins University found that seniors who added just 10 extra minutes of daily activity improved their energy, mood, and overall outlook without any medications. It's too late to start. I hear this all the time. But let me say this clearly, it's never too late. I've met people who started new habits in their 70s, 80s, even 90s, and saw real results. Strength doesn't care how old you are. Your body responds to love, care, and consistency at every age. I'm alone. That one hurts, and it's real. Loneliness affects so many seniors, especially after retirement or the loss of a loved one. But you are not without options. You can still build connection. Start small. A weekly call, a note to a neighbor, joining a local group, even online. One small step can open the door to something beautiful. You're never truly alone when you reach out. I feel invisible. This is one of the most heartbreaking feelings, and yet one of the most common. But let me remind you, your story matters. Your life experience matters. You have wisdom, humor, kindness, and grit that the world still needs. Never underestimate your ability to make an impact. Because at the end of the day, your body is sending you signals. Some are physical, some are emotional, some are subtle whispers that you might have ignored for years. But the beauty is, you can start listening now. You can take charge now. You've already taken the first step just by being here. And I hope you're starting to feel something stir inside you. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's just the feeling that it's time to make a change. And that's exactly what we're going to wrap up with in part 4. A final burst of encouragement, some empowering takeaways, and one simple challenge you can start today that could make a huge difference in how you feel and how long you live. We're almost there. You've got this. Let's take a moment to breathe. You've just gone through 9 powerful science-backed signs that your body is giving you clues about how you're aging, and maybe even how long you'll live after 65. And if you've been nodding along, realizing that some of these signs sound familiar, that's not a bad thing. That's awareness. And awareness is the first step to change. Let's recap, not as a list, but as a gentle reflection. Are you still curious and mentally engaged in life? Are you sleeping well? Is your grip still strong, your walking pace steady? How's your appetite, your ability to recover from illness? Do you feel weighed down by pain or lifted by purpose? These are the real signals. Not just numbers on a chart. Not just what your lab results say. These are the human signals, the ones that whisper when something needs your attention and cheer when you're thriving. Now maybe you're thinking, okay, but how do I use all of this? The answer is simple. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to start. Small steps, done consistently, create big results over time. And I'll tell you exactly why that matters. Dr. Michael Greger, a leading expert in lifestyle medicine, often says that chronic disease isn't inevitable. In fact, he and many others believe that up to 80% of heart disease, diabetes, and even some cancers can be prevented or improved by lifestyle changes. That's huge. And it means that no matter your age, you have more power than you think. So let's make this practical. If your memory has been slipping a bit, try adding one daily brain game, or even better, learn something new. A language, an instrument, or even just reading a new genre of book. These activities build new neural pathways, keeping your brain young. If your sleep has been inconsistent, look at your evening routine. Maybe avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. Take a short walk in the late afternoon sunlight. Try a simple breathing exercise before bed. You'd be amazed at how much better you'll feel with just 1 extra hour of deep sleep. If your walking pace has slowed, don't worry. Start with 10 minutes a day. Around your house, in the yard, down the block. Set a gentle goal like getting a bit faster each week. In 6 weeks, you might feel stronger than you have in years. If you've lost your appetite, think about adding more color to your meals. Bright fruits, warm soups, flavorful herbs. Eating should be joyful, not just functional. And when it's hard, try sharing a meal with someone else. It makes a world of difference. And if pain has been your constant companion, please know this: you are not stuck. There are solutions. Movement, diet, therapy, even gentle treatments like massage or acupuncture. There are ways to reduce pain, improve quality of life, and feel in control again. But perhaps the most powerful tip of all is this: find your purpose. It could be something big or something quiet. Helping a neighbor, teaching a grandchild, volunteering, writing, praying, growing a garden, or simply showing up with kindness for those around you. Purpose isn't about being busy, it's about being connected. And connection adds years to your life, and life to your years. One study published in Psychological Science found that older adults who reported having a strong sense of purpose were not only more active and optimistic, but they also had lower mortality rates, even after adjusting for health, wealth, and education. Isn't that incredible? So here's my challenge for you. Right now, today, choose one thing from this video that spoke to you. Just one. Maybe it was your walking speed. Maybe it was your grip strength. Maybe it was realizing you haven't been sleeping well, or that you've lost interest in your favorite activities. Pick it and decide, today I'm going to do one thing to change that. That's it. Just one thing. Because once you do that, you'll start to feel more confident, more hopeful, more in control. And from there, everything else becomes easier. Because aging, true, healthy, powerful aging, isn't about resisting change. It's about embracing it. It's about knowing that every year is a gift, and every day is a choice. So yes, your body is always talking to you. And now, you're listening. And I want to thank you for being here, for giving yourself the gift of knowledge, for choosing to be proactive, and for saying yes to your health and happiness. We'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Your best years aren't behind you. They're in front of you, waiting to be lived with strength, clarity, and joy. Here's to living your best life at any age.